I just finished watching Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan's Last Dance. It's the last season of Michael Jordan's career and just the whole story behind it. A lot of things that I didn't know. But in particular, I learned three things that I want to share with you today. I mean, there are a lot of things that I learned, but I paid attention because I knew that there were going to be principles that we can apply towards sales. And I want to tell you exactly what those principles are and how they can help you to dominate even if you are new to sales. You're going to love this stuff. Hey everyone, welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today and to evangelize. And on this episode, we're going to talk about The Last Dance. And if you don't know what The Last Dance is, you can go ahead down to our the show notes or to the comments below, and you'll see some of the notes that I put down. It will describe what it is. It's really Michael Jordan's and Chicago Bulls last season, and they documented it and gave some exclusive background and back behind the scenes stuff. And it's just really, really neat to see and to get a glimpse or to get Michael Jordan's story. We never hear from Jordan. He's very private, keeps information, just close to himself. But in this series, it was a 5-part series. It was 10-part series, and in this 10-part series, everything was laid out. And one of the things that I went into the series with the mindset of is this was the greatest basketball player of all time. Whatever he did or whatever he says is going to be applicable to me as a father, as a husband, as a business owner, or as a sales professional. And I took away several things that I feel that you can follow. I have some notes here, so let me go ahead and tell you. And I may go off on 4 because there's so many great points. But my goal by the time we get done is to help you to understand how you can dominate in your sphere as a sales rep. If you're first time watching this channel, first time watching any of our episodes, go ahead and subscribe down at the bottom right. And then also what I want you to do is to hit that little bell so that you can get the chime get a notification whenever we produce awesome content like this. But the first one, Michael Jordan had this win at all costs mentality. And I'm going to explain what that win at all costs mentality is. And I'm give you a little bit of clarity on that. Number 2 is that he had the mindset or a belief system of success. And then the third thing was that he was a perfectionist in the details. Even in the small things, he focused on being a perfectionist at that stuff. And I'll explain that again, how it ties towards selling. Now, as you're listening to this, you don't hear me talking tons about the actual techniques of being a basketball player. All of these things come back to whenever I went through it or whenever I looked at some of the things that other people have learned from it, it all ties back to Michael Jordan's mentality. In the very last episode, Michael Jordan talked about something that it hit home to me. He said when they asked him about his shots or shooting or free throw, he said he never focused on missing. Because if you think about it, if it hasn't happened yet, if he is going to the basket, why think about the negative or what could go wrong? Why not focus on what could go right? And because of that, Michael Jordan's brain only focused on him making the shot. Now, is that to say that he never missed a shot? Of course he's missed shot. Of course he's not perfect. But more often, he made those shots in the critical moments than missed those shots in the critical moments because he had this visualization, this mindset that was just solid. It was rock solid. But win at all costs. What this means to me is that you have to do whatever it takes to win. This is the mentality that all the greats have. Now, some people, they have this win at all costs, and they will do things that are not moral. They will do things that are not right, things that maybe are not ethical. In this case, I'm talking about ethical practices. Jordan was willing to work hard because he had this mindset. He was willing to work hard. He was willing to practice hard. He was willing to go longer than anyone else. He was willing to learn from the best. He was willing to adopt new strategies. He was willing to do whatever it took that would lead him to the success that he desired. Now, going back to us as sales rep, many of us, we desire to have money or we desire to have the close deals, or we want to be the best on the team. But it's not something that we truly believe that we can do. It's just this wish or this like, just this idea that would be cool. It would be great to have this, but we don't dedicate as much time or as much effort to making that happen. I mean, think about it. If you want to be the best on your sales team, if you really wanted to do that, what are some of the things, I don't have to ask you, but some of the things that you will need to do. You're going to need to make sure you understand the product or the service that you're going to sell inside and out. You need to understand your clients and how to best find them. You're going to need to make sure you study about the client's industry and some of the trends that's going on in the industry, reading their magazines and understanding their trade policies and some of the changes that might be happening in their sphere of influence politically. There's so many things that you could probably learn about your buyer that's going to help you to have your edge. But here's the caveat to it. We all do well at times. We've done decent in our roles and we've closed some deals. So we feel that we're okay and we coast on that. And we don't try to add to what we know. There are many basketball players that were good basketball players. I mean, one of the things that Kobe said about Shaq, Kobe said that Shaq could have been one of the best basketball players of all time. But the reason why Shaq wasn't the best, why he didn't outbeat Jordan, because Shaq was lazy. And Shaq will tell you that. Sometimes he didn't want to do certain things, so he didn't do it. And it's because he could be successful on his par, so to speak, because he was so gifted and talented. At par level, what he did was surpass many of the other basketball players. But if Shaq wanted to be ultra great, one of the best in the history of basketball, he could have, but he limited himself. Jordan, on the other hand, he recognized, I want to be the best of all time. So he was willing to do whatever it took, and also what no one else was willing to do. And that's what made him so great. He had that mentality. So going back to you as a sales rep, as a small business owner, maybe you're new to sales. Are you willing to do whatever it takes to make sure the deal closes? That's ethical. I mean, that should be a given right now. If you're following me, I'm not some of those sleazy salespeople, but being ethical. And here's an example. Client needs a proposal. They need to get something taken care of. Are you willing to drive to their home? Are you willing to drive to their office 4 hours away? Are you willing to jump on a plane? I heard a story of this guy. He wanted to get an appointment with an executive. The executive assistant told this sales rep that he's flying to, I think it was to California. The sales rep, he wanted to do whatever it took. He was dedicated to making it happen. He found out what flight he was taking, and then he somehow got a way to get a seat next to him. If he had to pay for the business class seat, he paid for it. He was willing to do whatever it took. When we start thinking about that, we might say, well, it can't happen. That's not going to work. We're not going to get that. It's too difficult. It's too expensive. If you're believing and saying things like that, there's no way that you have this whatever it takes mentality, because clearly you don't. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. That's, again, ethical and legal. I'm not trying to tell you guys things that are going to put you in jail now. Be relentless. So that's the first one. I mean, I could go on for days on that. The second thing that I want you to know of is the mindset of toughness. Here's the other part. Jordan was playing against the Detroit Pistons, and Detroit Pistons was just a ridiculously physical team. So what Jordan needed to do was to have a mindset of toughness, and then later on he got a physical toughness. He didn't jump into this thing right away getting physically fit. He focused on having a mindset, and it was hard to break Jordan mentally. No matter what they did, it was hard to break him mentally. So he kept going back. He failed. They didn't beat them. But then the next time they went back against them, Jordan went ahead and got the things that he needed to do. He got the physical mindset, the mental mindset, and then he got the physical skills so that he can outbeat them on the court. And it just showed me that if you want to do this, you got to have this toughness more than you can't get defeated by what somebody else do to you. Jordan didn't win every single year that they went to the finals. Of course not. It doesn't happen. Just like as much as you don't win every single time you get up and you go to do a presentation. You don't. However, you need to learn like Jordan did. He had this toughness that said, I'm going to go back at it. Too many of us as sales rep, whenever we get defeated, whenever the client says no, or whether the proposal got rejected, or they went with another vendor, we go down and we start wallowing in our in our losses, and we start complaining and we start crying and making, maybe not physically crying, but you're probably whining to your boss or to your team members or to whoever else about how stupid the client is. They went with that dumb vendor. They're gonna learn. They're gonna pay. Listen, let the client go, let them have that bad experience, and then they're going to come back to you. But you need to focus on you. What could you have done better in that scenario? Before you start blaming other people, what could I have done? Do I have this mentality of toughness that I'm not going to let it affect me on my next one? Because here's how you start going to the cycle of failure. Because you lost this deal, then you go on to the next call with this negativity and this fear that this deal is also going to fail. Then you lack this confidence in the things that you need to do, and you don't practice and do the fundamental things that would help you to guide that next buyer down the buyer's journey towards a success. So you start going in this spiral, this death spiral, and then it's been several months that you're not closing deals, and then you start complaining about how the marketing team is sending crappy leads. It's not marketing, dude. It's you. You're doing something wrong. You got to have a toughness in your mind. So here's how you fix that. You need to reevaluate what went wrong, and then how can I do better next time? And then you just keep trying, and you keep trying, and you keep trying over and over and over again. Also, another thing that you can take advantage of is other people who are really good. Jordan, when he first got on the Chicago Bulls team, there was a player that was better than him. There was one of the best players, the best player on the team. So what Jordan did was he followed that guy for several months and watched him and picked up on what he did and practiced and outbeat what that guy did so that he can be better the next time at bat, the next time he was going into the game, the next time he had that opportunity. I said at bat. He did play baseball too, but not the whole baseball thing. Going back to basketball analogy, he really wanted to be able to know how can he perform at his best in that scenario the next time he was given that opportunity. Mental toughness. You got to have it. There are many different books on it. Justin Sua, he is a performance coach. He works with Tampa Bay Rays right now, and he gave us some great insights. I'm going to link back to his episode a while back about how we can create this mental toughness, and he's written about that as well. So follow Justin. You can learn more about that mental toughness and the mindset. And the third thing is perfection. You gotta be a perfectionist in the details. Jordan was a perfectionist with his shots. He had to perform and to get that technique down. So the first two parts, we're talking about mindset now. The third part, this is where we're actually coming into the actual techniques. For you as a sales rep, that may mean that you evaluate your calls. How successful are your calls? What can you do to make sure you're perfect in the way that you describe the product or the service to your prospects? How perfect are you in your messaging? How perfect are you with prospecting? How perfect are you at planning? How perfect are you writing the emails or sending those little videos? How perfect are you in your notes or your recap emails to your prospect? How perfect are you in the habit of writing updating the CRM? How perfect are you in engaging with prospect on LinkedIn? Being perfect in the details is going to help you, because if you have the mentality, you're willing to do whatever it takes. You have this mental toughness, and you're perfecting your craft, then what's going to stop you? If you're doing all three of those things, you are going to dominate in your industry. You're going to dominate as a sales rep, and you have to learn to outbeat other people. You got to be competitive. When you have a whatever it takes mentality, when you have this mindset that's tough, when you're perfect in the details, you're going to be ultra competitive, and you have to be. I feel that being the best at anything come at a cost. In Jordan's case, the cost that he was willing to pay and had to pay was that he wasn't popular amongst his teammates. Now, you can still be ultra competitive and be successful and still not be popular? Yes, some people are definitely not going to like you, and it's not a popularity contest. You're trying to do your very best. If you're trying to win a popularity contest, then go for the Miss America pageant or Mr. Boise pageant or wherever you live. That's not our goal, but our goal is to be the very best that we possibly can. And if my competitors hate me, then so be it. I can't focus on what they think about me. I have to focus on what I need to do. If my teammates don't get it right now, then so be it. I have to do what I need to do at this point. Usually, however, once someone sees your work ethic, they start to appreciate that later on. None of Jordan's teammates, even though they said that he was very tough to work with at times, none of them ever complained that they didn't like him. They all enjoyed the fact that he pushed them or brought them to a higher level. You could do this without necessarily being like Jordan in that sense. You don't have to be forceful or yell or scream at people. That's a whole different way. But you do have to be willing to be unpopular in the things that you might do. So let me give you an example. If you're the top sales rep on a team and everyone wants to leave work early to go to the happy hour at 4 o'clock, but the top sales rep is still making phone calls, then they're probably going to say, well, dang it, Mary's still making a phone call, still doing her stuff. We can't leave yet because that's the boss is going to tell us why did we leave? And Mary's the best and she was still doing this. People are not going to like you because of that, or maybe because you do certain things and you close deals that people are not willing to do. You are willing to jump on a plane, or you're willing to go late to a networking event. You're willing to get up early and to get to the office. You're willing to help out the team members that need the guidance. You're willing to do certain things, and at a cost, people may not necessarily like you, or not like you. May not be the most popular person because of that. But you got to understand that you got to be willing to give. Also, your time. You got to be willing to dedicate time to this more than just the 8 hours at work. I'm a dedicated family guy. So in the evening, I have to spend time with my family. I dedicate time towards that, and I'm not going to change that. I want to be, when it's all said and done, I want to do whatever it takes to have a great legacy with my kids and with my family. So I dedicate that time in the evening towards that. But then my late night time, I dedicate towards my craft. So after I finish my family time, spend time with my kids, my wife, then I can use that late night to make sure I perfect my craft, or early morning to perfect my craft, or when I'm going throughout the day, I'm perfecting my craft. I'm reading books. I'm going to eliminate things that's not going to help me to perfect that craft, such as maybe watching Netflix, or maybe that going out and hanging out with friends. If I need to make sure that I get something done, I'm going to dedicate the time towards doing that or getting the process down. You have to be relentless. You have to make sure you perfect your craft. You have to know the details and to perfect the details. And again, the bonus one, I guess, is the bonus number 4, is just really the idea that you're not going to be popular in it. It's not being number 1 doesn't always bring popularity, and you have to be willing to sacrifice certain things. You're going to see what those things are. They're going to make themselves known to you, but you must be willing to sacrifice in order to get the best. Get rid of that. Again, maybe that's getting rid of the hang out with the boys sitting around happy hour. If that's the case, sacrifice that so that you can dedicate more time towards your craft. I hope this guides you. I hope that it gave you some kind of insight. But those are some of the things that I took away watching Jordan's Last Dance that I feel applies to you. Again, number 1, it's that you have to do whatever it takes, and you have to have a whatever it takes mentality. Number 2, you got to have a strong mindset or mental toughness that's going to help you to battle through whatever difficult situation. You fell down 7 times, you get up 8, and you keep going. And then the third one is being perfect in the details. In your craft of making a phone call, how can you perfect that technique and to do it better the next time, over and over and over again? Continual growth. And then finally, it's not popular to be, I guess the bonus one, not popular to be number 1, and you have to be willing to sacrifice something. What are you willing to sacrifice to obtain greatness? This is what I share with you because I want to help you. I want you to thrive. I want you to succeed. I want you to be able to go out each and every single day and find more of those customers that are ideal for your organization. I want you to be able to know what to say when you actually talk to them. I want you to be able to know how to close that deal. But most importantly, I want to challenge you each and every single day to go out and do big things. Thanks so much for watching today. Appreciate you. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up at the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.